Good morning and welcome to KZSC News. On today's broadcast, future ICE operations in Northern California, the NAACP March on Martin Luther King Jr. Day in Santa Cruz, commentary on food justice for the upcoming Eco Farm Conference, and a look at the long-range development plan of UC Santa Cruz. Stay tuned.
According to the San Francisco Chronicle, as of Wednesday, January 17th, the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement have been preparing themselves for a massive raid in San Francisco and other NorCal cities. The federal agency is looking to arrest more than 1,500 individuals, while also sending a strong message that undocumented immigrants in the sanctuary state are not exempt from the federal agency's operations. The Bay Area plan would target those with final deportation notices and past criminal histories. The San Francisco Chronicle reached out for comment from ICE officials, but ICE spokesman James Schwab declined to state further than saying that the agency does not comment on future or current operations. Earlier this month, ICE Director Thomas Homan told Fox News that if California law enforcement does not want to protect their communities, then ICE will. The operation, headquartered in the Bay Area, has potential to occur within the next few weeks and is expected to become the biggest immigration enforcement action taken under the Trump administration so far.
That's why I do what I do. I'm recognizing my rights. I feel like I'm free. I'm free at last. I am free to make music. I am free to walk around talking about promoting peace. I am free to talk about compassion. I am free to do it my way. I know about love, compassion, empathy.
That was Santa Cruz civil rights fixture Curtis Relaford, who's well known around town for his peace truck, giving his own twist during the March for the Dream Martin Luther King Day celebration in Santa Cruz, put on by the local NAACP and the Santa Cruz Police Department in partnership, the first of its kind in the nation. More than 35 groups participated in the march, which had many more participants than audience members, before gathering at Abbott Square for speeches by local politicians, NAACP, and United Way activists.
And when we look at the African American community here in Santa Cruz County, we're 1.4%. So sometimes you'll have where, if you're 1.4%, you might get shut out from the overall picture of Santa Cruz County. And so today was that day where we said, we're here. We're 1.4%, but we are 1.4% of the most powerful, creative, innovative, committed to social justice community that's here, and we want to work together. So there are opportunities for us.
That was Santa Cruz County United Way CEO Keisha Frost, illuminating the surprise felt by many in the audience at the large NAACP event in Santa Cruz, given the low percentage of African American population in the area. Frost zeroed in specifically on hiring practices at the police department, where credit checks count many applications out from eligibility despite having excellent records in all other areas. She sees this as an area that disproportionately affects African Americans, but also anyone who lives in a community where it's difficult to build credit.
To apply to become a police officer, you have to run a credit check. Well, that alone may unintentionally, but it has cut some people out, and it's paved the way to creating a barrier to all races and creeds becoming a part of the police force.
Frost said talks around this issue with Police Chief Andy Mills have been productive, and that the police department is now looking at reviewing the policy.
Chief Mills coming together to say, let's start.
Andy Mills began with KZSC by expressing his gratitude for the hundreds, perhaps thousands of people that turned out for Monday's march.
I think I'm gratified that so many people came out. We didn't know whether we were going to get two of us marching or 100 people, and we had several thousand, and it was absolutely fantastic day, so just gratified.
Really, who deserves the most thanks, just to hurt everyone else's feelings?
Yeah. Joyce Blotchke, who's my PIO and a community mobilizer, spent the last month working day and night on this thing.
Mills also agreed that the message of Martin Luther King Jr. was just as relevant in Santa Cruz as it is anywhere else, given the large range of issues the late preacher fought for during his lifetime, and confirmed that the role of credit ratings in the hiring process at the Santa Cruz Police Department is currently under review to increase diversity of applicants being hired.
We were talking about what's preventing us from hiring people of color, and I mean, it's an arbitrary, thing where, you're picking a number and eliminating person, one point the other direction. That doesn't make any sense to me. So they came back and took a look at it and thought it through. And so that's one of the areas that we can relax. Depends more of why there isn't credit or bad credit. Is it an issue where somebody's just running up credit cards with no responsibility? Or is it an issue where I grew up in a poor home and there were no other choices? Or I grew up in a community where I just could not establish credit.
Mills also explained why credit ratings are a criteria for hiring police officers at all.
I think it dates back to the days when there was corruption.
The spirit of cooperation between the NAACP, the United Way, and the Santa Cruz Police Department on this issue symbolized the feeling of unity on display at the Martin Luther King Day March for the Dream event in Santa Cruz Monday afternoon, which was closed out by a performance from local gospel legend Tammy Brown.
Because black and white together, we shall not be moved. All of us together, we shall not be moved just like a tree.
KZSC News spoke with Dina Izo of the Eco Farm Conference taking place in Asilomar January 24th through 27th about her views on food justice.
The growing of food, whether you're a white person or a brown-skinned person, if you're a person from Asia, or if you're a person from anywhere, effectively, if you're any race, the ability to farm and have access to land is key. The ability for eaters, when on the other side of that, people from all races, from all genders, from all aspects of human beingness, to have access to good, clean food that is fresh, delivers nutrients, because we have to feed our brains in addition to feeding our body, and just having access to processed food is detrimental in so many different ways. The majority of processed food does not feed your brain. It may make your belly feel full, but it doesn't necessarily feed your brain. Empty calories are part and parcel of keeping the population down. This is, in life according to me. When you use food as a tool, and food's been used as a tool, and so we want to take that tool to help build a just food system that allows all people of all races, of all genders, and of all outlooks to be able to have access to land, to be able to farm, to be able to eat, and to be able to feed their family.
UC Santa Cruz's Chancellor George Blumenthal is pushing a plan for an additional 10,000 students to be added to UCSC's student population by the year 2040. The last time UC Santa Cruz made a major push for expansion, in 2007, UCSC faced backlash from the Santa Cruz community, resulting in a lengthy settlement process. This time, the Chancellor is employing a PR campaign to engage community members in the university's planning process. However, according to the Good Times, Blumenthal said, "The notion that we're going to cap enrollment is simply not realistic. It's a pipe dream." In 2008, the university agreed to keep their rate of expansion to a maximum of 19,500 students in the year 2020. The new proposed maximum enrollment of 28,000 students enrolled by 2040 would almost double the number of students currently enrolled at UC Santa Cruz. Ted Ben-Harry is part of the steering committee at the Coalition for Limiting University Expansion, a community organization that was involved in the pushback against university expansion a decade ago, and that is also advising the university today on their long-range development plan.
UCSC is already at a size that is having too great an impact on the town. The impacts on the quality of life in Santa Cruz, the impacts on our resources and on traffic is already too much. And so any additional growth would just push it even more in that direction. And especially when you consider that when they say that the enrollment is going to grow, that actually is a much larger number of people who will be coming here than the 9,500 increase off the cap of the 2005-2020 long-range development plan, because you have to add in faculty and staff, and of course they have families, so we're probably talking 14,000 people, maybe more. Should be kind of the equivalent of the whole town of Scotts Valley moving to Santa Cruz. I know they don't all live in the city of Santa Cruz, but it's like adding another whole Scotts Valley to the Santa Cruz area.
The UCSC Student Union Assembly, the elected representatives of the student body, have opposed the university expansion in the past few years, and they also oppose this most recent announcement of an almost doubled maximum enrollment. Jonathan Su is the SUA Communications Director.
On November 7th, the SUA passed a resolution condemning the Long-Range Development Plan, which is LRDP. The SUA said that with the increase in enrollment, there will be a struggle to get all the resources that each student needs. This includes mental health resources at CAPS. Right now, CAPS, around 25% of the students use CAPS every year. That number has been increasing over the years. There'll be lack of ability for students to get the help they need, especially in CAPS. There are also enrollment. A lot of students can't get the classes right now. And if the enrollment increase does happen over that time, students won't be able to get the class that they need, even in the future. So my own perspective is I don't like the enrollment increase, and if we want to do the enrollment increase, they should also increase the amount of resources to give to each student on campus. When the chancellor announced the enrollment increase, it was surprising, first of all, because he responded to us saying that he wanted a meeting with the SUA leaders and at the assembly. However, he didn't schedule the meeting and he released it before the meeting. So it was surprising for SUA. The administration, including the chancellor, doesn't really listen to the students at all, and especially the student union, who is just a elected group by the people, by the students. So I think that without the chancellor listening to the students, anything that they do, it does not help benefit the students, and we need to hold the administration more accountable to their actions.
Blumenthal acknowledged that the campus is currently maxing out on its infrastructure for students, though he is facing pressure from the UC Office of the President. He says that while the figure of 28,000 students enrolled by 2040 did not come from the UC Office of the President, Janet Napolitano, administration would be unhappy if UCSD tried to cap enrollment. Blumenthal said that 28,000 students has long been the enrollment vision for UC Santa Cruz, outlined in its very first long-range development plan in 1963.
It's Chris Crone. I'm on the Santa Cruz City Council. Yes, it was actually, I think, 27,500 is when I Googled it. That was what I found. That was the original plan. But so much has changed in this community. At that time, they didn't know what the impact was going to be on the university. And we found out over the last 50 years that it has a huge impact on the university. But just as a side note, there was also supposed to be 10,000 homes built on Wilder Ranch. Wilder Ranch now is a protected area. There's also going to be a convention hotel on Lighthouse Field, and that never came to pass. Many decisions and plans, the best laid plans of mice and men, often go astray, and this is one plan that I don't think this community can live with. I don't think we can shoulder another 10,000 students. I really feel and think intellectually that 19,500 is enough, and that doesn't mean I don't support public education, because I'm a product of public education and I went through UC, but having one community, a small community of 60,000 people, shoulder this type of burden, Fresno would love to have a campus. Bakersfield would love to have a UC campus. Why aren't we looking to those places to place students as well.
I'm Daniel Martinez.
I'm Lani.
I'm Daniel Wootan.
Dina Izo.
I'm Anna Rose.
And I'm Ty Gehring. Thank you for tuning in, and make sure to listen in next week.